So welcome to the Future Media Concept sponsored AVID webinar. Let's kick it into opening up the AVID Media Composer. So the first thing that you will notice in any Media Composer when it opens up is it identifies itself as a version. In this case it is version 2023-12. Also it is Ultimate, but you see here that now I have the phrase find and script sync listed as artificial intelligence. So those are going to be the focus points of this presentation of this webinar. When the Media Composer opens up, AVID, like all non-linear editor environments, have three different components. One is the actual program, two is the physical media, and three in this case is the user setting. So when the system loads up, initializes all the elements, we have the opening screen, which gives us an option of starting a new project or using old projects, existing ones. In this case, I will activate the new project tool. The new project activates and it asks us first what is the location. So you can actually select different locations. In this case, I'm using an external drive, and I will identify that that drive is called, named, crucial, and I have a specific location where I'm going to save the project. Point is that the next step is the cool one, and this is something new in this version. In the user profile drop down, you notice that anytime you see this delta, this triangle, this pyramid sign, there is additional information. Notice that I set up a variety of these settings, and here is where the new addition in this version comes in. When you activate create new user profile, this dialog box comes up. This dialog box shows you that you have three different interface choices to start with. The far left is the new interface where Media Composer introduced everything to be magnetic, which means all the elements are magnetic. Then you can go back to the Classic, which is before 2019 version 6. And then if you are a novice to AVID, but you come from a known existing application, non-linear editing, NLE, you can actually have a Adobe Premiere Pro interface. That's a cool one. So let's start with the cool one. I'm going to activate it and I'll call it My Adobe. My Adobe. If we open up a new project, and the new project is going to be called Webinar for all, and we define that it's going to be 1080 2997. When you activate that, it is going to come in. There we go, comes in. So that's clearly a Premiere interface. Now, the cool thing about the Adobe interface is that when you open up your user settings, in the user settings, the keyboard, let's open up the keyboard settings. In the keyboard settings, you have a choice of using the Premiere keyboard. That's cool. So if you check it out, it is the Adobe Premiere Pro keyboard setting. Clearly, if you want to use a different keyboard, there are presets for the Resolve. There is a preset which is the AVID native, but right now, because we're using the Premiere Pro interface, it makes sense to use the Premiere Pro keyboard setting. Anyways, so if you are ready to move to a different interface, meaning the real estate is going to look differently, you could go back into the settings. In the settings, you change it from Adobe, which is what we started with. And let's go back to something that I'm familiar with, which is the Media Composer. There we go. It sets it back, continue, and now the interface is back to Media Composer. If you want to use the keyboard, which is the AVID keyboard now, it becomes more logical. And now we're back home. So that's a major difference. When we opened up in the past Media Composer, by definition, if we were in the Media Composer interface, there was open bin already waiting for us to put stuff in. So here are the choices that you had. In the past, if you right-click in the bin, you were able to open up the browser, and you can also open up the import. In versions up to this version 2023-12, the MOV file format was not supported when you wanted to import it. and it has changed. So this is how you will be able to test it. As I have set up a whole variety of QuickTime movies, if in the past you wanted to bring it in, you were able to hold down Option and they were linked. And that linking was very easy, very simple, but it meant that you are doing now Avid Media Access AMA. So I'm going to color these guys because in the past when you're linking it, it turned to be yellow. So if I want to bring in one of those, even if I want to have 3 of them, here's how it would work. Simple drag and drop would initiate the transcoding. And you notice that there are different icons present here. Let me pull off the bin. I'm going to increase the size of the font by bringing down the windows, and it's going to be the font, let's say make it 30. You notice that if you go to the DaVinci file, drag and log, there is one that is linked and there is one that is ingested. So the icon looks different. You also see that I have a different location for them. And this is a clearly visible difference between a linked as opposed to imported. And the importing was very simple, very fast. And you obviously in the past you could also use the friend called the input, import, and if you know where your material is, in this case I know where my material is, I'm going to bring in other files, let's say, there we go. The speed is very comfortable. I think that it's a good way of seeing how the processing works. Anyways, point is that this is something new, and in order for me to make it work, so I identify which is the location where it's going to be digitized, transcoded, imported. Here is the way of dealing with that. In your basic format settings, in the project, you can define that the media creation is going to go, if you are importing it, and in this case import is here, you can define where it's going to be going default. Also you can define what is the resolution. So instead of dragging it and then deciding what is going to be the format, you can preset a format, preset a location, and by just dragging it into it, it will digitize it in that particular resolution. As well, it will put it onto a drive. Now, with this being done, let's move on to the next elements that are really, really cool in this version. So I'm going to get out of this particular project. Command-Shift-W, it does not close the application, it just leaves this project, because by definition, by design, you can only run one project at a time in Media Composer. And I know that I have a webinar set up that was pre-edited, so here is how it looks like. When it comes up, it loads up, and you will notice that I have some bins already. Here is the one cool thing that I am really happy about that they introduced. I'm going to clean up a little bit things and make sure that I start from scratch. Cleaning up trash is always requiring 2 steps, plus you have the safety, which is actually very good, so it doesn't automatically clean up. You have to physically change from don't empty to empty, so now nobody can say that accidentally something was deleted. Anyways, here is a bin that contains footage of a film shoot that is segmented, and it has a traditional slate and everything that we're familiar with. Now, in this scenario, there is a character that is talking, and it is scripted. Let's hear what is the dialogue.
If he doesn't want it, he doesn't have to take it.
And a quite aggressive one?
Hey, if he doesn't want it, oh.
So now we're talking about a take, and this is the additional tool that was introduced. Now, in the past, there was a product that was included in the AVID Media Composer ecosystem, the script sync, and the script was basically an environment where you looked at footage, somebody transcoded it, they typed it into a text format, and then you will be able to bring it in and gonna match up shots with the words. Here it is now changed into artificial intelligence. Therefore, if you right click on the file and activate your friend create script from clip. Watch what happens. Within seconds, well, not even seconds, it's almost instant, you have a scripted environment here where thank you, pick up, market, sorry. So this is actually the transcript of what is being said on that clip. Now, you notice those little notches there? That means that if you click on one of those, you would be able to put your playhead, or your playhead will park on the word or the sentence or the saying that is at that particular time in the clip. So let's try it out.
Set. And action.
So let's find this one. I'm trying to pretend that there is fine. Let's see.
Right.
Trying to pretend that there's fine, you being good in
Right.
Okay, so now let's do the last one.
Listen, if the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have to take it.
Okay, good. So now that works. The cool thing here is that if you, let's just make sure that the real estate is much better organized. If you decide that you will have bigger fonts, and this is what generally a lot of people like about AVID, the font size is going to be increased by Windows drop down, activate the set font, and let's make it 24. So the fonts are bigger. Let's see if those notches still function properly. So I'm going to move it slightly to the left. Real estate obviously is magnetic, so everything is kind of reorganized. And ladies, there we go.
And action.
Ladies, if the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have to take it.
And you see how clear the typing is, how clear the word recognition is. Let's do a couple more because I just want to make sure that it is doing properly, not just once, but many times. I'm going to reset my interface to default. Let's see if I can set it up. There we go. Reset, and if I Windows it, there we go. Migrate workspace, restore to that saved one. There we go. So now it's much cleaner. Go back again to the environment. Here's another section. Let's get the guys talking. There we go. What is going on here? Usually, if we want to see the waveform in AVID, because AVID does not have a waveform per each individual clip, you have to switch over to a toggle. There we go. Here's the waves. And we can hear that there is some dialogue between the two workers who are moving that jacuzzi.
Pack it up, boys.
Huh?
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it,
That's what he said.
but it's already off the truck.
And this is where I will right click one more time, activate my create. There it is. And if I zoom in, you can see that there is much more stuff going on. It's the semis, Ivan.
No.
It's the semis, Ivan. We'll miss
Semis,
kickoff.
so it's kickoff. Okay, so it's a sport thing. We'll have to go. Let's see what's going on here.
I know.
We'll have to go all the way back to the warehouse.
Peak hour traffic.
And this is an accent. I think it's an Australian accent, but I may be wrong. Already on the truck.
But it's already off the truck.
Well, then put it back on, G.
So now it's very, very clear that this recognition is working fine with English. Now, here is the other element that I like to demonstrate to you. This other element is much cooler as far as I am concerned, because what it does, it gives you a additional element to a tool that in the past we knew and we cherished, and we call it phrase find. The phrase find was offered in earlier versions way back, and its power was very, very unique. You were able to type in something, and let's say a word was typed in. Let's call, let's pack it up. Let's pack it up. So if we're looking for not just a word, but a statement or a sentence or instruction in the clips and the sequences that are live in that particular project, we could activate the phrase find, and the phrase find would kick it in, and it would tell us where that statement is made. Now, in the earlier version, you had a score which identified what is the accuracy. So if it was below 50 or somewhere around 50 and 60, it might not have been recognizable clearly. But let's hear, and let's see what happens if I click on this 736.6 score 80. What will happen? What will pop up in the source monitor?
Okay, you're the boss. Pack it up, boys.
Pack it up, boys. So now the Pack it up, boys is appearing on that clip. The next clip that I have, that score is at 731. Let's see how that looks.
Okay, you're the boss. Pack it up, boys.
So there are two different places where the actor
said
is
he doesn't
saying
want it.
Pack it up, boys.
Sorry, can we try that again?
All right, so the point is that in the new version, in the 2023.12, there is an additional column added, and that column is the one where the power lies. In this column, you now see the sentence where the word or the phrase was used. And to me, this is very, very cool, because I don't have to go through all the takes, which clip is the one that I'm looking for. Where is it? I know exactly where I want to have that. Let's do it. Maybe that's a different one, because I don't think it says let's pack it up, boys. Let's see how that looks and how that sounds. Does it work?
Here.
Let's do it.
Yeah. The window.
Thank you. So where we starting from?
take one.
Beginning? Very beginning.
So that's the instruction from the director. That's why it is a low level. If I go over 67, let's see what that one is.
Let's say somebody, let's call it a teenager, says,
So it is also not continuing the link, because it is lower level, so it is not following the let's pack it up. So the let's pack it up probably comes over here.
Okay, you're the boss. Pack it up, boys.
There we go. So we are now clearly seeing the benefit of visually having access to where the material is being spoken. Now, let's go on to the next show, which has more noise. In this case, where we have the shot that is a film shoot, it's pretty quiet control and the noise level is pretty decent. Continuing with this scenario of working with noises, but in this case the noise is very, very loud. I need to check it, make sure that I don't blow the ears. And let's see the volume level. I already brought it down to minus 20 dB. So when I play it, you can hear the noise of the trade show.
It's between diffusion with Oak and Quark for absorption. And this is a diffusion panel.
So this is a booth where a product is demonstrated. These are isolation booths, and you can hear clearly the gentleman has an accent.
introduce your product, please.
Of course.
Sure.
So these are acoustic panels.
Got you.
And they are
So now there is noise level plus an accent. So let's see how that works with the script from clip. Wow. If I want to hear it, I can hear it clearly, but here it is. And they are divided into three families. So diffusion, whoa, very serious, sophisticated wording. There is a mix between, let's see what he says here.
Yeah. And this is a mix between diffusion with Oak and Quark.
Wow, recognize it. So how do we...
What are the materials? So now you have a C cork here.
This is Oak, Quark, ABS,
Yes, okay.
MDF, glass reinforced plastic.
So it recognizes these are abbreviations and they stand for something. Let's go one more time. What I would recommend, context ATP package. I don't know what that means. Let's find out.
Would you recommend?
What I would recommend in that context would be the ATP packs.
Got it.
So the script is really well recognized. I like it a lot, and I think that this, for a lot of editors, will be, if not the selling point, but it will be a very attractive point to either go back to AVID or stick with AVID when you need this kind of stuff. Obviously, this information is usable for long forms or features, but to me, to use this tool for editing, other than just visually always find the clips and find the sections, is really helpful. This element to me is really cool if you do a whole bunch of subclipping. Let me explain what I'm saying. Clear out the monitor, clear the menu so there is nothing in there. And if I look at individually, each of these clips have a mark in, mark out. So if I can identify how much I want to in and out it tells me the in and out is 15 seconds. Let's set up the other one. It's 25 seconds. Let's set up this section. So these are all areas where I'm separating a section of the clip. In the past, to make subclips, you had different tools. One of them is easier than anything else. So click on it, drag it down, so you made a subclip of that. G101072. So you made a subclip of that particular one. Now, this tool is really practical, but you had to do it individually for each clip if you wanted to subclip all of them. Let's say that I want to have all of these subclip, and somebody in my team, an assistant editor, set this up, the in and outs. And these in and outs would be set up based on some kind of a editorial, directorial instructions. And if I do have it set up, let's find out what the benefit is and why I worked with this. Notice I'm in and outing sections. I'm obviously doing randomly because I don't want to waste your time. So here is what I am suggesting you try. Again, this is in version 2023.12. Lasso all the clips. And if you right click on one of those clips that were selected, you have a batch create subclips option. This is really fast. Look at it. And it's asking you, well, it's asking you first what you want to do. It asks you, you want to have the video, audio, and in this case, I'm going to have based on the marks, the in and out marks, and retain the marks now. Just turn them off, and let's see how fast it does it. There we go. So now you have those sections subclipped, and they are showing just the section. So these are the basic additions to the 2023.12. If you like them, please use them. If you have practical usage, spread the word, and I would definitely make sure that you benefit from them. That's why we went into this deep detail. So the quick recap was, if you want to have material linked, let's go open up a new bin. The fastest and easiest way to link it would be clearly find where the footage is. In this case, I have it in a card. Let's think about it as a camera card. Holding down an option, you drag it into the bin, it links it. And we know that in this version, if I have MOV, which was a discontinued file format by Apple, I'm running everything on my Macintosh. And now, because I can drag it, now the question is, when I drag it, do I know where it's going to go? Oh, quick reminder. Remember, we did this in the project settings. In the media creation, I decide ahead of time when the import is done where it's going to be, and I'm going to have it, let's say, set up to be high quality. So you define what is the format of the compression. So if it's DNX HD high quality, and I'm going to put it onto specific drive. These are all the drives in my ecosystem, and anytime I do something like that, it will, when I say set it up, that's what I meant. So anytime I set it up like that, next time I drag the stuff in, drag it in, there we go. It's gonna digitize those 3 files. And if I look at those 3 files and ask the computer where they are, let's see what the computer tells me. Let's close things up. I'm asking the computer where those are because they were coming in late. Organize them ascending, descending. These 3 are the ones that I digitized. Color them. These 3 are the ones that were linked. Right click yellow. And I'm asking the computer to identify where the material went. This is the original linked stuff. When you right click on it, there is an option where you can actually tell it to reveal where it is. And it reveals that particular one. That's the original. And it is only 49.4 megabytes. And if we look at the same file, which is which is the dragon, there we go. If you right click on it and you activate the search, reveal the file, it tells me that it is now MXF, and the MXF in this case is showing me that it is a 135.4 megabyte because we digitized it, and that is now digitized as MXF into, on the root level, AVID space media files, MXF into one. So if you like this, please let us know. Thank you for your attention, and good luck, stay well,